Hi guys, welcome. Jerry here. So, ooh, it's been a long time since I posted any video on this channel, actually, but I have been thinking about doing this video for a couple of weeks now to put my 2 cents in, as well as many other women that decided to share their experience as to what we're going to be talking about uterine fibroids. So I have been looking at YouTube at other females that have been sharing their experience, what they went through, how was the procedure, how was their recovery methods, to a point where, to be honest, you guys, I didn't really want to look into it too much, because if you're deciding on getting this done now, what I'm talking about is fibroid embolization. So that is what I decided to do for me. That's what I thought would be best for me, because I am 36 years old and I have no children, and I want children someday. So that is what I decided to do. So what I would tell you guys is that if you decide to do this procedure, if you don't have any anxiety or anything like that, I suppose you can just listen to, go on YouTube and watch other women share their stories. But I noticed, like with me, and this was about 2 months prior, before we got to 2 days before the procedure, I decided not to, because it started to make me feel very nervous. And from my understanding, everyone is different. Every female is different. So you may experience some pain, you may not. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we're all women, but we're different. So I want to share with you guys a little story about my fibroids and what I've been experiencing, what I had to go through to finally get to this point, and then we're going to go from there. So I found out that I have fibroids, if I could think, it was right around the pandemic, if I could think on top of my head. So it's been a little bit about 4 years. I'm going to tell you guys my story about my fibroids. So I discovered that I had fibroids back during the pandemic. If I could think on top of my head, it was back in, I would say back in late 2021, 2022. I had went to my yearly gynecologist exam, and while she was examining me, she noticed that there, was, I don't know what you call, like little bumps, my uterus felt abnormal. Like normally, I feel like the uterus is supposed to be smoothed, as they're going in, but she had felt these fibroids before I knew they were fibroids, and that was when she told me, like, okay, you had fibroids. Now, prior to this, I noticed, but I didn't really pay attention to it, and I want to put this tip into for you ladies. When it comes down to your menstrual periods, please be mindful of your menstrual period. Now, I know that with menstrual periods, you start at the age of being, I don't know, some girls start the menstrual periods at 10. I started mine at 11 and a half, going on to 12 years old. It was a month before my 12th birthday I started my menstrual, and other girls turning to women are different. But you know your period. So once you notice that your periods are a little heavier than normal, that is the first red flag. Okay, so please monitor your periods. Okay, this goes for anyone that is younger. Okay, do your research. So I noticed I was getting heavy flow periods. I didn't think nothing of it. I was just thinking it was just a typical thing. It starts and then you have I would say about day 2 or day 3 of heavy bleeding. I know that was for me on until the third night when it started to slow down, and then it picks back up, and then it just runs its course, and then you're good for the whole month. That's how my period was. But I noticed that they were really heavy. Now, my periods were getting heavy to where, let's just say, if you're sleeping, you're in your period and you're sleeping, you have to get up to use the bathroom. There have been times where all I had to do was be on my feet, and all of a sudden it's just like this. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, you feel that flow, and when I say a flow, it was a big flow, and it was almost like you were messing up yourself, which I'm sorry to be vulgar. I should put in a disclaimer in the beginning of this video, but it was everywhere. It was everywhere. There were times where I had to jump into my own bathtub and to get the blood off of me. And the blood itself was almost like water. It was almost like water. So I was like, that's definitely not normal, but I didn't even notice it. Like, if they didn't tell me that I had fibroids and I didn't go in for checkups, I wouldn't know. I would not know at all. So that's one of the red flags. Another red flag is that you start developing what they call pica, which is a certain craving of things. My craving was, let me show you this. My craving was, and still is ice. Ice. I remember one day I got a hold of ice, and for some reason, ice was tasting really good. I kept eating it. And I eat it so much to where I wasn't drinking any water. It was like I'd rather have ice than water. It was like ice is my water, ice is my soda, ice is my lemonade iced tea, ice was my wine. Ice was everything. I didn't even notice that either until the doctor brought that up. They were like, do you notice that you eat, do you eat a lot of ice? And I was like, oh my God, yes, I do. I do eat a lot of ice. Yeah, that's another thing. So if you notice that you're picking up certain cravings, it can be different. It could be ice. It could be something. I'm thinking like with me, because I noticed, and I don't know if you guys experience this. I noticed that I like things also that are like tangy or like vinegary. I usually eat at this restaurant called Mazette. I call it Mazette. It's a Mediterranean grill, and I will order this bowl with all of these pickled items, like olives. I develop a love for olives. I don't know if that's related to it, but I noticed that I like olives, and I also like jalapenos. And it's not as strong as the ice eating. I don't know if that relates to anything. It could be. I don't know. But I know one of the main factors is definitely ice. So after we had that discussion, she referred me to one of her specialists. And I made an appointment to get a MRI done, because that's the first thing that they want to do before they can see, what is going on in your uterus, how many fibroids are there. So I went and I got that done. They were very misinformed to me, because I remember when I did it that day, I was at work and I left early and I said, you know what, I'm just going to go to Wendy's and I'm going to get me this nice burger and fries, because I had a taste for it along with my ice. So I'm on my way to the clinic and I'm getting set up for the MRI. They put the IV in your arm, and that's one of the things that they have to do before you get the MRI done. And once they put me in that machine, they would tell you to do some breathing exercises. Take a deep breath in and hold your breath for a couple seconds and then breathe right out. But if you do that long enough, and let's say that you eat, you will puke, because that's exactly what happened to me. I ended up puking. And because I didn't even know I wasn't supposed to eat. So that's another tip I want to share you guys, that if you do an MRI, please make sure you don't drink, you don't eat, okay? It's a little less discomforting because I ended up had to get it done the second time, but I'll get to that. So I got that done, and then that was when I actually went to see the specialist. So I sat down with her, and she got a good look of my fibroids. Everything else looked good on my body, like my ovaries and certain parts looked good. But she told me that I had a total of 6 fibroids. 2 of them right where my lower back, they were the size of, I would say, in between a plum and a grape, from what I remember looking at, because she showed them to me on the scan. And I was like, wow, they're in my lower back area. The 2 that are on my lower back, I noticed that when I go to the nail shop, and you know how you're getting a pedicure done on your feet, and most of the time I love to use the massage chairs. The massage chairs will be massaging my back, but I noticed that when it gets down to my lower back, it will massage it to the point that it becomes uncomfortable. Although I'm sitting in a chair and I have like the massage machine on my back, I noticed that when I'm off on it and I rub my back on there, let's just say later within that day, I'm sore. And I didn't really understand why. So that's one thing. Another thing also is that when you're in the shower, you can't handle certain heat on your back in the same area. It's like scalding hot. It's like like that kind of feeling, if you guys get what I'm saying. So that is what you experience also with fibroids, that they can make wherever that they are, they can make your skin sensitive. Also, they make sex uncomfortable, like sexual intercourse uncomfortable. You can't really enjoy yourself. Well, I'm all over the place. Let's go back to the doctor. We'll go back to the doctor. So the doctor told me that I had a total of 6 fibroids, and she recommended me that. She said either you can get a embolization, a myomectomy, and the myomectomy is no way, she didn't say that. She from her, wait a minute, let me go back and say. Okay, so we were talking about the fibroids. She told me that I had like 6 of them. Then she recommended me to another specialist, and this specialist was a woman that performs all these operations, which mainly she performs a myomectomy and a hysterectomy. Now, myomectomy is a surgical procedure where I can't go into specifics. I just tell you guys to please do your research. But long story short, they basically do cuts around your pelvis as to where the fibroids are located using a robotic machine. And from there, the robot is supposed to cut the fibroids out of your uterus. And a hysterectomy is simply when they take your whole womb out. They take your whole womb out. I know I did not want to go that route. I didn't want to go that route. So, but I had high hopes that, I wanted to see her. The specialist, the first specialist, says that she was amazing. At least I thought that she was amazing. And I decided, okay, let's go to her. So this was it took me about a couple months because we enter into a new year. This was 2022. So I was busy working. I was dealing with the heavy flows. I was dealing with the eating of ice. Now, with the eating of ice, what they did, because they found out I was anemic, I did get some lab work done, and then they found out that my blood level was low. So they recommend me to get iron in my body. And when I got enough, when I went in, they filled me in with a whole lot of it. So they were giving me iron. Oh gosh, because I know that I was working, and there were some days I had to get off of work. I would go there and I would have at least about an hour to 2 hours of them putting, iron back in my body to where I wouldn't crave ice no more. And it did work. It worked because once I noticed I put an ice in my mouth, it started tasting metallic. So I was like, I don't crave ice no more. And it lasted for a while until I started, heavy bleeding, and then I became anemic again, and then all of a sudden ice became tasty again. So that was another thing that I had to go through. So going back to the third specialist, to the surgeon. So around, I would say November of 2022, we had went to the surgeon. We went to the surgeon, and she got my results, and from what I remember, she didn't mention much about the firoidemmboilization. I was reading some negative comments about it by saying like, oh, if you get this done, then you might have, a hard time conceiving, even though they say that there is, that's not indifferent, because they're still doing research, and there have been a lot of women that had this done and they were able to have children. So, blessings to them. So that's not true. But she didn't mention the embolization. Her mind was on the myomectomy and or the hysterectomy. And I told her that I didn't want the hysterectomy. She said she would do the myomectomy. I agreed to it. I was supposed to, due to the fact that was in November, that was during the holiday. We fast forward to 2023. I have scheduled the supposed myomectomy to be done that following March of 2023. And I remember all throughout the holiday, it just kept daunting in my head. This woman, and I felt this because I felt this in my spirit and I felt this in my gut. This woman was kind of like, she was pushing. I'm not going to say it. She was pushing me to have a hysterectomy. And I remember where I was sitting here in, like the living room by myself. And I just felt it like in my gut. Like, it was not right. It was not right at all. It felt so cold. It felt so daunting. I'm like, everybody else had babies. My all my female family members, including my older sister, who had 4 children, had babies. And I knew I could be the best mom ever, and I'm like, you're telling me that I have to have a hysterectomy? Are you trying to force that on me? And there have been times where I would sit down and I would cry, and I get a little emotional just thinking about it, because that's part of what I went through, is just sitting here crying. Sometimes I had to call my mom. And my mom, right off the bat, she didn't like her. She she felt something. She did not like her at all. Let me tell you how vulgar she was. And this is another disclaimer if you guys don't want to hear this. So she had to do an exam on me, right? And the day I saw her, I was on my period. This woman put on her gloves, and I told her that I was on my period. She said, I don't care. I don't know how many of you ladies had an exam done on your period, but I felt like that wasn't right there. That was not right at all. So I felt a little violated doing that, because I'm like, how in the world a doctor is supposed to actually feel the fibroids if you're on your menstrual period? You have all that stuff going on within, like, your coochie area, and they could just go in and feel that. No, I think you shouldn't be on your period at all for them to do that. That was when my mom was like, and my mom was in the room with me, and she didn't like the shit. She didn't like it at all. But I low-key trusted this woman because she was a woman, because, she's a doctor and she has this experience. But something about her had daunted on me. So I was going through my bouts about, because I know I was like, I'm not going to get a hysterectomy. I'm going to go with the myomectomy. Well, from what I remember, what she told me is that she said she would try to do the myomectomy. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, like, if I told this woman to do a myomectomy and she would do something to me while I'm out on, passed out, because I take it that you have to be asleep to get that done. And then she says something goes wrong, and then she goes to my mama and she go like, you have to get a hysterectomy. I will regret that for like the rest of my life. And I would not want that. I wouldn't want that at all. I have an older sister, but we have different fathers. And my father passed away 2.5 years ago. And there's nothing I wouldn't want more to have a child. But I wanted him to have the grandchild that what she can hold. And it was just all this other stuff. Sorry, guys. That I was just thinking about. And this is another reason why I wanted to make this video, because I don't know if other women have been blunt with this, but I'm going to tell you guys on my end that if a doctor tells you something that they think that you should do with your body, don't let them force it on you. I postponed this woman. When it got to March of 2023, I postponed her because I wasn't ready. I still was thinking about it. So she postponed it from March to July of that year. And the whole time, I meant to tell you guys, this is where I found my savior. Okay, I found my savior. So there's this doctor called Dr. Gao Gao. If you guys are from the DMV, you know exactly who I'm talking about. If you guys had him, like I'm getting ready to, you guys know what I'm talking about. So I felt something within him that I felt like that he can help me with this. He can save my uterus. He can relieve me from all these symptoms, all these pains, and I could feel like myself again. And I remember when I was trying to get away from her and find someone else, um, it was such a hard time because he had a not wonderful nurses, the amazing nurses that he has now, but he had other nurses before. And there was this one particular girl where she was very adamant about my insurance. She wasn't really specific as to about, what kind of insurance that you can have. I just told her what kind of insurance that I had, and that was, oh God, what was that? That was United Healthcare. They said they don't take United Healthcare, but she wasn't really open about, well, you can go to this insurance, you can go to that insurance. I didn't have that kind of help. I had to find that out for myself. So I was like, I'm running out of resources here. Like, what am I supposed to do? I didn't want this woman to touch me. I didn't want this woman to do this to my body. And the straw that really broke the camel's back. Now, this is the thing. So she gave me like this folder with everything about the myomectomy and all that. And in that pamphlet, and I was in here by myself sitting in this very living room. In that pamphlet, she had a pamphlet about hysterectomy. And I went off. I screamed. I cried. I tore it to pieces. When I tell you guys, I tore it to pieces. I was so angry. I was so mad. After I told this woman I didn't want a hysterectomy. Then another thing too. I went on her reviews page. Every woman that she had operated on had gotten a hysterectomy. There was no reviews from what I can see where a woman had a myomectomy. Each and every one of them was a hysterectomy. So you had a doctor that she felt because you had fibroids, let's take out your uterus altogether. Let's push other women, especially black women, to have your uterus removed. I could just feel that, I don't know about other women, other situations. Some women choose to do it because they have their kids. That's up to you guys. If you have your kids and, you want to be free, do what you do. But you have women that are like me that want children, and you're trying to push the narrative of a hysterectomy, knowing you can't, with a hysterectomy, you can't even have your own child. You would never have that experience. And I say, you know what, I'm done. I never wanted to see her. It was so bad for me is that I had to contact the insurance and put in a complaint to say, you know what, don't pay this woman anything. I'm not going to her. She's done. And this was all MedStar. I want to tell you guys, this is all MedStar, part of MedStar. And that's why to this day, I don't trust MedStar at all. I don't even think I even trust a MedStar hospital with a physician. I don't trust them at all because they don't give a shit. If you don't care about yourself, if you don't read between the signs, they could mess you up. And even with that one little thing, and I just want to tell you guys that if you go to a certain doctor and they're trying to push you to do something that you don't want to do, don't do it. Do not do it. I had times where I remember before I even went through this, I had dreams about my baby. I don't know if you guys believe that. I'm a little spiritual, but sometimes I do believe that you have dreams about you holding a child. I remember in my past I had dreams about me holding my kid. So I know, like, I don't need no hysterectomy, But I'm gonna get a little bit off of that subject, okay? There. So after I decided I didn't want to deal with her anymore, it's been months and months and months, and I have been still trying to work with Dr. Gaga. And, I kept calling them. There was one time where I ended up, getting what was it? Getting the same female. One time they were saying they were going to call me back, but I knew this female did not want me to talk to Gaga. I felt like that she was a blockage. Like, it was just so irritating. And I couldn't do anything at the time because I was working and I'm still dealing with these symptoms. And, the craving of ice comes back. And I started feeling like sharp pains in my abdomen. And when I say I started feeling sharp pains, I started feeling sharp pains as if somebody was stabbing me, like taking a knife and twisting. It was like a very mild sharp pain. And I'm like, I can't continue to keep dealing with this. I need to get this done because I'm getting older and getting older. And I'm like, I don't want to keep carrying these things. So what I did was I was still with United Healthcare through my employer. I had started my job the months going into 2023. I started my job, and underneath my job at that time was United Healthcare. I was like, you know what, this is not going to work. So I finally asked the question to the office of Dr. Gaga. That was when he had, these new team of ladies. They're here to this day. They've been so wonderful, so amazing, helping me out. I asked them, I was like, what type of insurance do you guys take? Well, they told me the insurances. And from there, I did my own research. I started contacting the insurance. I started to see when I was able to enroll. This was in the middle of summer. It was the middle of summer where I was trying to do the research. And then I found the time to contact the appropriate insurance carriers that he works with. But they were telling me that I was unable to do anything until the following year, going into 2024. Within 2024, I started the insurance. There have been some things that had happened during that year where I got incredibly busy. And I just didn't take the time. So I just kept holding on until finally I got the insurance started. So I got the insurance started, and then I was able to meet with Dr. Gaga. Now, first I met him before I started the insurance. He sat down and he talked to me, and that was where I got a little bit more, in depth about, what kind of insurance and, what he do. And it was just such a good, welcoming and warming atmosphere of just being there. Like, I just felt like that I was in the right place, and I didn't want to stop at nothing until I was able to see this man. So I did what he asked me to do, and then I got the insurance started. Now, I wasn't able to see him because I had to redo the whole process again because it was a little bit over, oh my gosh, like a year and a half. I pray to God, I hope I'm not over the place. But I had to still do the blood work. And from there, I had to get another MRI done. And this time, I didn't eat anything. I made sure I didn't do nothing. And when I did the MRI, it was a tad discomforting. But, I didn't, puke my guts out. So I'm good. And then afterwards, I made sure I had a very nice meal because I was hungry. I was like, was so hungry. But I was able, did I even eat? Yeah, I ended up eating ice that whole day from what I remember when I got those two things done. So it was just like ice was the thing. So, after we got that done, finally, we got to see Dr. Gaga. When I went to see him, this was about, oh gosh, let me see. It was a little bit about a whole year. It was this year. I told you guys I'm a busy girl. Plus, I had work, I had life, I had death in the family. I do other things as well. So I'm a hustler at the end of the day. So, and I guess it's about time to get your health in check. Okay, so I managed to see him. So my mom was with me. I'm here. He's, there by the screen. It comes to this. So, upon him looking at the updated scans, it is discovered that I did not have 6 fibroids, but I have a total of 23, including one little one that is inside of my uterus where the baby is supposed to be. So that was shocking. That all these years, all of this time, I have been harboring that many fibroids. Now, going to what had happened to me a year before. Now, I'm not ashamed to say that I'm not the type of girl that, is very highly sexually active. It's like I get sexual every once in a blue moon with someone, okay? Everyone's different. That's just my thing. Till I get the right person. So there was a sexual encounter that I did, and I don't know, either his pants must have knocked one of them in a different area, but I had been experiencing, and I showed Dr. Gaga this in this recent appointment, that I've been experiencing some leg swelling in my left leg, only in my left leg. And at times I would elevate it, it would go down. But the moment I started walking around, it would puff back up. My mother, she was very, very, very concerned about my leg. She thought that I was going to lose my leg. And, I wasn't, scared at the fact with that, because I know I was not going to lose my leg. And right now, I'm still experiencing the issue. Let me see if I could turn the camera over. So this is my leg. I don't know if you could tell that it is swell. Yeah, you guys can really tell because it's swell, is shiny. Yeah, so this is my leg. I have been dealing with that for the last 8 months. I am I have hypertension, so I have high blood pressure, and I take a medication called lisinopril. They also put me on fluid pills, which are, they are a bitch to me because they make you pee a lot, and I just don't like them. I don't know, it's because of the situation with the fibroids. I may try them once I get this procedure done and get better. But right now, it's just lisinopril. So they did put me on other medication. They put me on something else too, but I can't really think the name of it. Like these really big pills, and they tasted terrible. And I was like, no, I am not taking these. I'm like, no way, because it's very hard for me to take medicine. It's very hard for me to take high blood pressure on a daily basis. I don't think I took it today, so I gotta start again tomorrow. But I gotta do better. I'll do better, okay? But fast forward to Dr. Gaga. So he tells me how many fibroids. He saw my leg, and my leg was indeed swollen that day. So he said that's part of the symptoms. Ice eating, feeling, a little discomfort in the pelvis area, frequent urination, like you pee a lot, bowel movements if you eat something wrong. I noticed that there have been many times where if I eat something I shouldn't have eaten, it immediately rushes me to the bathroom. And what he showed me also is that I even have a fibroid that is pressing down on my bladder. And there's the ones in the back. Actually, there's an additional one, and they're about, the same size. Maybe they gotten a little bigger, a little itsy bitty bigger. Because with fibroids, they don't grow like that. They grow very slowly. And those things are pressing on my bowels. So I'm still stunned just thinking about this, that I had all of this stuff going on and I didn't even know why. So, even with those many fibroids, he agreed to do the embolization. And I was wondering, and I was questioning, I was like, why in the world the previous doctors, they did not know this? They saw 6 of them. So that goes to show that they didn't know shit, But if you ladies are in the DMV, please get Dr. Gaga. Okay, he is the best, all right? He is the best. He does not fucking play, okay? He is awesome. So that was that. So the next part was scheduling the procedure. Now we are in 2026 now. I was supposed to get the procedure done at the end of March, but I wasn't really ready. It was at the time where I just got laid off on my job, so I've been home for like a month. And I had to get, like unemployment, benefits to make sure that, everything stays good while I'm on bed rest. So I had to postpone it. Then it went from March of this year to April, which was, last month, April 20th. I had to postpone again because my uncle had passed away. So I had to help my mom with the arrangements on that. And I had to call the office and I said, you know what? I'm going to get this done in May. And here we are. It is Saturday, 2 days before I get this procedure done. And I'm going to get my procedure done on May 11th at 8 a.m. So I am excited. I am a little nervous, especially about what I have been looking at YouTube videos about how they say about the pain, but I'm just saying in my mind, everyone is different. Everyone is different. What else can I say about this? So I go on Monday. My goal now is to take care of everything around the house. I have laundry to do in the morning, and usually I bring in large quantities along. I wash every once a month. I can't do that no more in the next couple of months or so because it is said that it takes 3 to 6 months for your uterus to fully heal. So certain things I can't do. I can't pick up anything heavy. So I'm washing my last set of clothes to make sure that that is done. I'm making sure that my house is clean. I'm making sure I have food because the moment I get that done, it is said that, I'm going to be laying down. I'm going to may feel a little, discomfort. I have my mom. She's going to be here with me to aid for me. I don't want to put so much on her because I'm very determined to, get back into my normal self, but I'm not going to be able to do things like drive. And what I'm telling you guys is basically like the norm. Again, just please do your research. But yeah, that is the plan. What else have happened? So back to me getting my house together. So yesterday, this happened yesterday. So yesterday, my mom had bought a new couch. And she didn't want her old couch anymore. I needed a couch, and I'm so glad that I got the couch in my home. It's very comfy, and I'm going to be laying on this thing while I'm resting. After she gave me the couch, of course I had to, break my place down. The place where I am right now is, if you guys have been following me since the beginning, I'm not, definitely not in that place. I moved in 4 other places since then, but I still live on my own. But my place is very small, so in order to get, the old furniture out and new furniture in, you have to break everything down. So I had to move everything around to get the couch in, and then put everything back. The moment that I did that, y'all, I started to feel pain in my abdomen, like a dull, achy pain. And I was feeling that all day long yesterday. I took aspirin. I took Motrin. Motrin is awesome if you're dealing with any like stabbing pains or any dull aches. You be thinking at times it's your stomach, but you have to really think about, if you know you're dealing with fibroids, it's definitely that is messed with. So I think I might have overstrained myself. I don't feel the pain right now, but that was like all last night. I had once I was done for the day, I went home, I laid down, and I woke up this morning, which is, today, and I feel pretty good. What I noticed is that I have been peeing a lot, and I was doing the research about what happens if you be, moving furniture and you have fibroids. What it does is that it will feed the fibroids more blood, because they're on your uterus, and they're just like sucking your blood dry. They are the reason why, you're anemic. They're the reason why you bleed heavy like you do. And I think I might have fed one of them to where now, wherever that one is, it must be pressing on the vein that leads to my bladder, because I've been pissing a lot. I've been telling my mom, I'm like, I'm peeing every 30 seconds, and it's like I eat a full food. I mean, I had breakfast, I had I had lunch, I had some KFC, and I'm still peeing. So I'm like, at this time, I'm like, y'all, I'm over it. I'm so over it. I am so glad that finally, it's over. It's going to end. Whew. Yeah. So that's a little bit of my fibroid story. I don't think I left anything else out. Now, what I'm planning on doing is this. This is going to be like a part 1. I want to give you guys a documentation as how my process goes from when I go in and have the procedure done, to how I'm feeling afterwards, to a week after. I'm gonna educate y'all and give y'all my 2 cents about how I'm feeling. Again, I really hope that everything goes well with this, and I really do feel like that it's going to go well. My mom was telling me today that, you are a strong woman. You're very strong, like, like herself, and like my father. My father was a very strong man, so I know that I can do it. And, this is the first step for me, to get a baby. And even I would share this last thing. Even with Dr. Gaga, I was expressing him about, me wanting to be a mom, and he was giving me, like resources of this place in like, what is this? It's in Barbados, and they help you conceive a child. If you want to go down that route, my mom was like, yeah, we're going to get on the plane. We go get it. But I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, right now, I'm getting ready to do this, and yeah, we're gonna see how it goes. So you guys, pray for me. I don't know when I'm going to have this posted. But yeah, that's my whole story. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump up off here. I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening to my story. I hope I wasn't all over the place. Again, stay tuned. we are not done talking about this. There will be another documentary about, like my process and things like that. So I would tend to jump on here if I feel like it. Depends. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to stick around, be sure to follow me, especially if you're coming across this and you are a K-pop lover. I would love for you to follow me because I had changed the channel a lot. I know I meant to do a live update. I may still be able to do that because I didn't really want to post anything but what the hell. Okay. I really want to share this part of my story. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I gotta go, and I'll see you all in the next video.